What's up, everybody? Let me just make sure. Okay. Why is my camera not working? Well, what the heck? There we go. Okay. Sorry, my camera locked up for some reason. I hope everybody's having a great day. Let's get this lighting right. There we go. How's it going? Sorry for the little mishap there. My phone updated today. I don't know if you all know, but everybody went to iOS 14 or whatever. And so I think permissions with cameras and etc. got all reset. So I had to start all that over. So I guess, and somebody's still saying that sound isn't working. Hang on. So we're checking. Okay, everything's good. Cool. Well, anyway, this is Dylan with Dylan Talks Tone. Sorry about the little sketchy beginning there, but we do a couple videos every week. We do guitar tone stuff, and we talk all about guitar stuff, and we do this live Q&A every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And today we've got a couple of questions that came in on Patreon that I want to make sure that we take care of, because that is one of the ways you can get your questions answered for sure, is you go over to patreon.com/DylanTalksTone, and you can ask questions over there, and then I make sure that I cover them on Thursdays. That being said, if you have questions at any time during the week, I do try to check that thing as much as I possibly can to try to keep up on it all. So, but we have a few of those, and then I just want to talk pickups, because we don't talk about pickups enough, and that's my favorite part. So, obviously. So if you have questions for pickups or about pickups, I mean, you don't have to ask the pickup itself. If you have questions about them, for me about them, go ahead and hit the comments there, and then also super chat, whatever, in case I miss you. And that's it. Oh, speaking of YouTube channels, I started a new one. I have really gotten bit by this whole RC car bug, and I love it, love it, love it. I actually ordered another one. It's a kit. I'm going to build it up from scratch. And so I was like, I think it just needs to have its own YouTube channel, because there's no point in putting it here, because it's not about guitar stuff. And I was going to put it on the Music and Mascara channel, which is, normal. But I don't know, it's just too nichey, and it's not about our motorhome life or whatever. So I decided to start an RC car channel, because I need more to do. But it's fun, and it's I should have just said Dylan Talks RCs. I really should have. No, it's called RC the Planet, actually. And there's a link to it in the comments of this video. I put it in there if you ever want to check it out. And oh, I know, dude, I've thought of all kinds of names that guitars and RCs. I actually thought Guitar C would be pretty cool, but this channel it does its thing, and it's doing what we're doing, and it's been good. And this formula that we've been using with a video on Monday and a live thing on Thursday has been working super well. And I think y'all have been liking it. Obviously, you're all here, so I think it would be cool to keep it the way it is and not dilute it, not that sort of thing. So I'm so super stoked about it. Let's get through these questions over on Patreon, and then we'll try to. I know I love all these names. I even developed a graphic for it and everything. Like, I'm really into it. I just hope it does well. I want to review products and try stuff, and what I really want to do is shoot cinematic footage of driving RC cars wherever we travel. Like, that's a thing. Sort of like when we go and sit on a park bench somewhere and work on the guitars out somewhere cool instead of just in an office like we used to. Let's see. Questions for our Q&A section. The first ones. Zoltan says, I have a string tension question. 1. I had to tune a guitar down from E to D, so that's a full step. The next morning, all the neck relief was gone. I had to truss rod it back. Is that normal behavior, or does it say something bad about the inexpensive set neck guitar I used for this? Actually, no. Remember that your truss rod is actually working in opposition. Opposition's a bad word. But your truss rod, all it does is it compensates for the tension that the strings place on the guitar. So if you lower the tension, then the neck will flatten out, and you will need to compensate for that. It depends on the guitar and the stability of the neck, but to go a full step, probably going to have to adjust the truss rod. Actually, to go a half a step, I actually end up doing a whole reset. I do a whole setup on a guitar when I change tuning. Like for one night, so let's say, you know, I play in standard tuning, but if there's probably 2 or 3 guys that I'll go sit in with, and they all tune a half step down, I'm not going to reset my entire guitar just because, like, hey, go get your guitar out of the car and come sit in with me. Obviously, I'm just going to tune a half step down and deal with whatever, you know, playability rattles for that night. I'm not going to reset the guitar all up. But if you are going to go a half step down or a full step down permanently on that guitar, what I would tell you is choose the string gauge, choose the tuning, and then do a complete setup. Truss rod first, check your nut height, because if you change string gauges, you want to check your nut height, then check your saddle height, and check your intonation. Do it all in that order, and do a proper setup on your guitar if you're going to change string gauges or tuning, or both, every time. Like, and then just that'll be that. If you have the luxury of having more than one guitar, and that's the guitar you use for that tuning, then you just leave it like that, and then you won't have to chase it. You know, of course, if you're going back and forth all the time, you'll get to know, I can get away with a 1/8 of a turn of the truss rod when I put 10s on it, or when I tune regular standard tuning, and I have to just give it this much to go back to half step down or full step down. You know, you'll get to know that over time. So, you know. String tension question number 2. On a multi-scale fan fret guitar, to keep string tension similar to what it is on a regular guitar, would you consider using custom matched strings with relatively progressively smaller gauge toward the lower strings? Okay, so what he's talking about there is you're on a fan fret guitar or a multi-scale guitar, the lower strings, so like your E and your A, or if there's a B, like if it's a 7-string, those strings are actually longer on the top. So the scale is longer on the top, and then it gets narrower as it gets to the bottom. I do not personally have a bunch of experience with that. However, I do know that they do make string sets that are made for that, basically doing like what you're saying, like putting the tensions together so that it works, you know, the gauges together so that it works tension wise. However, I do not know. I'm just going to tell you I don't know, because I have, that is not an area that I get into, is the multi-scale thing. So if you play multi-scale guitars, please get in the comments and let us know what scale you play and what the scale change is and what gauges of strings you use for your setup, and if you're happy with it or not, and etc. Because I'm going to have to just call on you to share that with us, because I don't know. I haven't done enough, and I'm not going to say I don't have any desire to, but I'm just not drawn to it enough to like go buy a guitar and try, you know what I mean? Because that's going down a completely niche-y kind of road, and I just haven't had a reason to do it. So for those of you that do play multi-scale, please get in the comments and help us out with that, because like I said, I just don't know. Frank says, And Frank is new over there on Patreon. There's a few new people this week, so I appreciate y'all. If I built an S or a T style guitar, we can say Strat or Tele around here. I don't care. From parts for say $800 with mostly Fender brand parts from Warmouth or something. Would that be a better quality than an $800 Strat or Tele? I'm handy but new to do-it-yourself guitar stuff. I wonder if I should start out with some cheap builds first to practice, or can I kind of just jump in? It doesn't seem overly complicated if it's just I'm just assembling rather than building the actual parts. This is a great question. You know, if you follow the channel at all for any period of time, I really, really love taking cheap guitars and making them sound good. What this is going to come down to is your skills with setup. You can pretty much put together any cheap bolt neck guitar now. I mean, even a $200 Squire has a good neck. Like, the neck is good. It's some of them will be like B stock and have knots in them and stuff, but they don't come out of tune because of that. They don't, you know, any good commercially available body and neck, as long as the fretwork, but see, there you go into setup again. It's a matter of how much time you put in the setup and whether it is worth it to you to do that work. I don't think that if you bought your own parts and built a guitar for $800, that you could buy a Fender product for $800 that would be better. I do not believe that. I mean, an American Standard Tele now is $1,600 or something, right? So, yeah, I think it's worth a shot. And I personally think that it's worth trying. Like, I think you should just try it because it's worth trying. You know, if this is a hobby, and we're enjoying it as a hobby and trying stuff, then I say, do it. All right. A couple words on the string setup, or the string comparison videos. Are we down to the last set now?
You don't have the last set on now.
Okay, so I have one more set to go. I'll put those on probably Monday, and then we will talk about all the strings. This has been really fun. I have been enjoying trying different stuff. I will say that the difference in strings was not as... Changing strings on an acoustic guitar makes so much more difference than changing strings on an electric guitar. That is, I'm just going to say that. I firmly believe that for most part, strings are strings when it comes to this stuff, especially after playing them one right after the other. It's been really kind of fun. There have been a couple of standouts for a couple of different reasons. We'll get into that when we get into explaining this stuff. But it was nowhere near like the drastic difference in feel and tone that it was on acoustic stuff. When we did the acoustic experiment, it was way more. Way more. Somebody asked, can strings change the output? I mean, theoretically you could, but there is almost no way to accurately measure it. And I will tell you that between the strings, when I've recorded them, they've been dead the same all the way across. I mean, when people are going to say, well, you can't totally evenly strum every time. Yeah, but dude, I've been playing guitar for a really long time, and I know what the pick feels like in my hand. I mean, this is not rocket science. When you play a familiar riff a bajillion times, which is what I've been doing with this, you keep it relatively within the same bounds. That being said, when I go and mess with this stuff in post, and I actually put it all into the software, and I'm, in Adobe Premiere, and I'm doing all the audio editing and editing it all together and syncing it all up, I do not have to change levels at all. There's not like one string that's like way louder than the other. There's not, it's not like that. Acoustic guitars, it's way like that. But electric guitars, which is so much fun for me to find out, because 90% of what people get bent out of shape about electric guitars is just a bunch of crap anyways, and just play the thing because it doesn't really matter. That being said, y'all are going to hate next week's video. Y'all are going to hate it, because I'm going to do tailpiece up or tailpiece down on a Les Paul, and y'all are going to have to deal with it. Because that's a bunch of crap too. So I'm excited to do that video. I've been meaning to do it for a real long time, and I haven't had a Les Paul to do it with, so now I do. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. All right, let's see some pickup questions. Let me run back through here. Oh, I went too far back. This is all y'all hanging out talking about before the thing started. Oh, somebody asked about the slant 6 pickups that we put in Dan Thompson's bass for his what is that thing called? The Great Guitar Build-Off guitar. That guitar is, those pickups are available on the website. We actually already, I wound a set of coils for, they're going out probably Monday or Tuesday, for a guy who ordered a set already. Those are really cool. We are coming out with a new set of pickups. It is going to be slant 6 pickups for the guitar, for a 6-string. They are not going to be the same as what's for the bass. That just wouldn't work. So we are doing something different. My goal is to basically make them sound like a single coil, but be hum canceling. I think wide range, but not. They're going to be different. They're going to be different. I haven't actually built them yet. I've just been doing the math and figuring out what I want to do with them in my head. So I haven't actually built them yet. So we'll see what they sound like, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a hit. And we're gonna put those in the Les Paul. That's probably what we're gonna give the guitar away with. I'm not really sure yet, because I haven't figured it out totally yet. But because we'll get to the guitar giveaway stuff in a minute, because I want to talk about that too. But anyways, those pickups are going to be amazing. I'm super excited about them. They're going to be quiet. I think they're going to be pretty sweet. So let's see. People are asking. Somebody wanted to ask about some other stuff. Hang on. Hey, Dylan, recommendation for a good set of stacked Strat pickups, something that goes well with a JCM 800 level of gain. You'd probably have to ask somebody else to get an honest opinion on this, because I believe that there is no good set of stacked Strat pickups. That's just not my thing. I hate them. I don't like them. If you want gainy single coils, we make a P90 sort of looking Strat thing that's awesome. It fits in a Strat, and it's super hot, and it would work really good in a gainy situation. I don't like stacked coils. I don't think they sound right. I'm not a fan. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. What's the difference between cheap and expensive pickups? About $100, first of all. And basically, most of the stuff that they make, like the Arctic stuff, Artec is the biggest company that makes like all the cheap pickups for all the guitars. Their wire is cheap and their magnets are cheap. And so what they do is they'll use cheap magnets, and then they'll wind to compensate for that. That's what I've seen. And they will use cheap bobbin materials, and the overall effect that you get from all of that is that they're not very expressive and they're not very versatile, and basically the sound is what they sound like. Like when you play a good single coil pickup, well, any really good pickup, when you turn it from 10 to 7 to 6 to 5, you're getting all kinds of different sounds, and you're getting, your gain is falling off and coming back, like when you use your volume knob, that sort of stuff. It's way more expressive. Touch sensitivity, like when you pick really hard versus really soft, there's a change there. It's not just fuzzy all the time. So cheaper pickups will have this thing where, like, let's say you play them with some overdrive and you turn the volume down, they're just quieter, but still with overdrive. When you play them soft, they're just quieter, but the sound doesn't change. They're not, you can't get a different sound out of them. It's just louder or quieter. Where a good pickup will make it to where, like, you can play with the pick like really super soft and it'll sound clean, and then you can dig into it and it'll get a little dirtier. Like all those kind of flexibilities that you get, that's what you're paying for, and that is what is honestly the time that it takes to figure all that stuff out. And the materials. I mean, these guys are making pickups. You can buy pickups on eBay for $5, and I mean, the parts that I put into a Strat pickup cost way more than that. Like, you know, so it's about what, it's about the time and the attention put into it, for sure. Will low output single coil pickups be fine for high gain? Absolutely. I'd say the lower the output, the better. I like low output pickups. Love them. Do you design your pickups for certain scale lengths, or do they sound well for both Gibson and Fender? They sound amazing for both. And we have had that verified many times. Especially the center punch and the DAF humbuckers. You could put those into any guitar. They're amazing. What is your take on El Nico 8? I use ceramic at that point. I just like how it sounds. Let's see. You have the technology to build RC motors with your string winder. That's actually a different mechanism. They have this weird like crankshaft thing. It moves back and forth. It's not a, it doesn't go around. Yeah. Thanks for being a subscriber for so long. Let's see. Hang on. Okay, so Chucky Whiskers says that he plays a 25.5 to 28.75, and that the Diodario NYXL Lite 9 to 80 will be manageable to most extended range guitars with thin neck profiles. Thanks. 9 to 80. So is that, how many strings is that, Chucky Whiskers? Is that a 8 string at that point? Because you'd go 9 to 42, and then what would you go, like 62 and then 80? Like, I don't know. Let me know what those other strings are. That's an interesting one. P90 humbucker or question mark for a neck pickup on Telecaster for grunge and alt rock. Oh, humbucker, dude. Or P90, but humbucker would be the way to go. Grab that DAF from DylanTalksTone.com. Grab that DAF, chuck that in there. That would give you that for sure. King of Grunge though really is a P90, but that would be in your bridge position, in my opinion. Your Joan Jett situation. Well, she had a humbucker, but the earlier guitar. let's see. Adam, you asked about the signal path from pickup to output. We have that in really in depth over on patreon.com. We went into that for probably 2 hours, and you can watch the replay of that class, and it's really, that was last month's class. That specific thing that you just asked about, and I did a whole whiteboard, super in-depth thing, and you can go watch the replay of that over there. P90 is growly in the neck and a humbucker is smooth. Dude, I'll have P90s in anything at all times. I love them. Hey Dylan, I just want to say thanks for your insight on your recent chat on Facebook. Our recent chat on Facebook regarding different wire insulation. It was nice to have another voice of reason. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. So in those Facebook groups, a lot of times, a lot of people get super stuck in how it should be a million years ago. Okay, here we go. 9, 12, 15, 22, 30, 42, 56, and 84. Interesting. That makes sense. Any thoughts on the freeway 10-way strat selector switch? Yeah, I mean, you could try it. It'd be cool. I don't really have any reason to try it because it's a fly. It's probably the same fly as last week. I don't have any reason to try it because I just am not into it. Because I don't think that any guitar needs to be that complicated. That's where I have a friend who makes these crazy complicated wiring diagrams and like these wiring harnesses, and he's let me try them before, and I end up using like 2 settings because I just don't think it needs to be that complicated. I just don't think guitars are that complicated or need to be that complicated. So I don't see a reason to have that many positions. That's just how I care about it, though. I don't really care. When are you doing the rig roast? Okay, so that... maybe we'll do that next Thursday. Live. I have to think about that. I'll have to think about that. But that's coming because I've been just waiting for everybody to submit a bunch of them over there in the Facebook group. And there's tons of them now. I think there's like 60, so it'd be really fun to go through some of those. I really dig it. Are you smuggling flies? No, I'm not. Try a blender mod instead. Yeah, there's a bunch of different strat style stuff that you can do. My favorite thing, really, I think of any strat wiring, I think I said it last week too, is just to have a separate tone knob. So the neck and the middle pickup be on one tone knob, and then the bridge pickup be on a tone. That's my favorite. That's totally my favorite. What are your thoughts on a tone knob versus a 5-way switch? Why do you have to switch? Why do you have to choose between them? I mean, they do 2 different things. So, you know, obviously your 5-way switch selects which pickup you want to use, but your tone knob selects tone, like how much treble there is. So I think I don't want to choose between those 2. You know, so yeah. If you're playing your HSS right now and you wish you had a tone control on the bridge, we have that wiring diagram over on Patreon, just so you know. You only have to add one little wire, like one little thing, and it'll fix it. It's literally, there's one little jumper you have to put on your switch, and then you have a separate tone knob for your bridge position. Yeah, for sure. Oh, having different capacitors on a switch. Now that's cool too, like a Veritone, but again, I just don't think it's something that I would be able to use. Yeah, I personally wouldn't use it. So, anyway, well, cool. Guitar giveaway stuff. So we are at, hang on one second. It's getting close. We start talking about, I usually start talking about guitar giveaways about 5,000 subscribers beforehand. And we are pushing 45,000. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. YouTube Studio. 44,057. So we have basically 6,000 subscribers to go until we give away 2 guitars. So we're going to give away the Les Paul. We're going to put new pickups in it. We're also going to give away the Jackson with the EMGs in it that we already did all that stuff. The Coming Home Band, yes. So I gave away some old pickups. I sent them to Canada, and they got sent back to me for a wrong address. So we're getting that fixed for you, Mr. The Coming Home Band. Regarding Sustain, see the YouTube video talking bolt-on versus neck-through with Neil Moser. I'll watch it. There's no difference. It doesn't even matter. Have you ever talked about a Sustainiac? That is on my short list, dude. A Sustainiac pickup is on my short list. I really, really, really want to do that. It's been on a longer list before, but since we got all this other stuff taken care of, can't wait for the videos where you mod the giveaway guitars. So the one guitar is already done. That's the Jackson with the EMG 8185s, the Zach Wilds in it. I've never done anything with it. It's under the bed in the back, and I haven't used it, so we're just going to give it away. But the Les Paul has Grover tuners on it already, but we're going to put new wiring and new pickups in it and do a really nice setup on it. I'm not going to do any kind of crazy stuff, no Bigsby, none of that kind of stuff. We're going to keep it pretty legit. That guitar is going to be nice. It's going to be super nice. It is super nice. That guitar is really nice. It's really clean. Really, really nice. What do you think of gold foil pickups? I love them. If you're going to buy a gold foil pickup, I would buy a Tim McNally gold foil pickup. They're about $200, but they are worth it. Very worth it. Would you be able to rewind an Aria SB1000 active? We do not currently do rewinds because it's very difficult for you to send me things. It can happen, but it takes a long time for me to get it because we live in a motorhome, and this week we're in Michigan. Next week we're going to be in Indiana. Next week after that, I don't know where we're going to be. We haven't even decided yet. So it's very difficult for me to get stuff sent to me. So that, as a result, I do not do rewinds anymore, and we do not carry customer stuff, people's stuff anymore. So, yeah. So, yeah, the Sustainiac thing is definitely on my list. I definitely want to do that. Why are ultra low output humbuckers like the Lambertone Cremas so rare? They're not. They're everywhere, but people don't pay attention to them because they think they need more output. Lambertone Cremas, I mean, I know those are like in their little, everybody likes him for some reason. I guess the praise and worship people are super into him or whatever. But, you know, like our DAFs, those are way low. Our pickup, our humbucker size Filtertrons are even lower than that. It's super easy to make them. If you want low output humbuckers, you just have to ask. That's super simple. I can do that like in an afternoon. And there's lots of them. DiMarzio makes them. Seymour Duncan makes them. All the big names make them. Because contrary to popular belief, everybody wants higher output pickups because they want to be louder, but that's really wrong. They don't. What they really want is lower output pickups to have a nice mid-range bump so that you can be heard when you're playing with the other guys that you're playing with. If you have a really high output pickup, the highs start to go away, the mid-range gets a little bit more scooped, and the next thing you know, you're trying to turn up, trying to turn up, trying to turn up, and you're not louder than the guy next to you because you're like getting lost in all the other instruments. What you really want is a lower output pickup with a really good mid-range that you can shape, that you can change it, that is wider in frequency response than a higher output pickup, which is typically narrower. So yeah, lower is better. I mean, there are certain reasons why you would go higher for sure, but most guys playing most music really way over output themselves. Their pickups are way too hot. Everything's way too hot because they want to be over the guy that's next to them, and they're doing it wrong because they're really losing the mid-range and the vocal quality that guitar is supposed to have. The guitar is a vocal instrument, like a human voice, and the more output you stack on top of everything, the more that vocal quality goes away, and then you just get lost in the mix. So lower output, in my opinion, is always better. And the thing is most people who, I mean, if you're younger than Mullet Rock, then you're probably going to want higher output stuff, and you're going to be playing some more proggy and more modern music has higher output stuff. But for all the people that play all the classic rock stuff, and I want to sound like Jimmy Page and Slash and all these people that are old, they are definitely going the wrong direction because all that music was really low output stuff. Low wattage amps, most of it. Low wattage amps, single coil, and very low output humbuckers. And P90s are probably as high output as you get most of the time with all that classic rock stuff. So, and that's what all those people used when they made it. You don't need more output. You just don't, typically. Is it worth removing wax from pickups from 70s to 80s? No, never. You'll just end up ruining it. What do you think of the Seymour Duncan P-Rail? I think it's a goofy idea, but I think it's cool, but I wouldn't want one in my own guitar. I have had them before. They're interesting, but they're not. Our center punch works way better, and it fits, and it doesn't look stupid. If you advocate for lower output to cut through, what's the argument for high output? The high output is going to give you a different sound. It's going to scoop the mids more. You're not going to sound like Metallica because you don't use enough wah, but you are going to sound more metal. But that is a flatter sound. There is less dynamic range there. It is a sound. What happens the higher you go in output, whatever sound it is the sound it makes. You can't, there's less. Okay, I say it like this. A high output pickup is going to sound like this. Okay? A low output pickup is going to sound like this. So my question is, why would you have a pickup that sounds this much when you can step it down just a little bit and then have a pickup that sounds like this and have so much more versatility with it? That's the thing that you gain with a lower output pickup, in my opinion. That is my opinion. Do you make a low output P90? We make a P90. It is 8.2, and it is amazing. It is the best P90 on the market. I will definitely brag about that. Have you ever tried bare knuckle Ragnaroks or any other bare knuckles? Yes, they're amazing. If you want high output pickups, there's where you go. Those dudes have it down. We have a couple of really good high output offerings, but nothing like that stuff. That stuff is way higher output, and they manage, probably because of the way they're wound, to keep a fair amount of expression in those pickups. But they're still not vocal in the way that a lower output pickup is. Yeah, the higher out, yeah, you do get more compression, obviously. And here's the other thing too. It also depends on the amp that you use. So if you play a Champ or a Princeton or a Blues Junior or a Blues DeVille, any kind of 40 watt amp, you know, Bugera V22, and Thrash Metal Man, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that very, very much, by the way. I don't want to forget that. Most people in real life are going to play a 5 to 40 watt amp. If you use a high output pickup, like 12 and above, or probably, it'll be very difficult to ever get anything clean out of it, because you're just going to hit the amp so hard that it's just going to be very difficult. If you're playing a 5150 or a JCM 800 or, you know, something 50 to 100 watts, then you have more headroom to hit it with more voltage, because remember, the higher the output the pickup, the more voltage it's going to make. So playing a high output pickup into a Champ or a Princeton or a DeVille or a Blues Junior or a Bugera V22 or anything like that, it's just going to crunch it up all the time. Like, you'll never be able to get anything clean. So just to think about that, you know, because your amp matters. Would it be possible to make a humbucker from two P90s the same way a regular humbucker is done? That is what a regular humbucker is. So basically, when Seth Lover looked at a P90 and said, well, there's 10,000 winds of 42 gauge on there, let's just take two, we'll split it in half, and we'll put 5,000 on each. That's all it is. There, you can make, I've seen guys do like a Sidewinder P90 and some other form factors and stuff. I am not a fan of noiseless pickups for the sake of making them noiseless. I mean, humbuckers are humbuckers, yeah, but I'm not going to take a single coil and make it noiseless. I do not believe in that. If you want a single coil, get a single coil. If you want a humbucker, get a humbucker. I do not like compromise pickups. I want a really good P90 to sound like a really good P90, and I want a humbucker to sound like a really good humbucker. So, you know, I mean, that's the thing. I don't care about all these wacky, like, well, I want this pickup, but I want it to sound this way instead. Well, no, because the physical construction of a pickup makes it sound how it sounds. The height of the coil, the width of the coil, the thickness of the coil, the thickness of the wire, all the stuff. And if you try to pack that into something else, it just won't be the same. I just don't do it. I mean, there's a couple pickups where we do that, you know. Oh, Jeff, thank you so much for the liquor fund. Oh, dude. I did use the money that you've been giving me for the liquor fund, and I did get some good stuff. I got a bottle of Blanton's, and I got Jefferson's Ocean Voyage 20. So thank you for your help in that very much. Two full P90s, you could stack them on top of each other. That does work. It becomes very heavy, and it doesn't sound like a P90 anymore. They sound kind of squishy and compressed, which is, to me, the whole, just ruins a P90, in my opinion. What liquor goes best with a humbucker? Depends what kind of music you're playing. If you're playing jazz, then you get out some Blantons. If you're playing metal, I think you go like some kind of vodka drink, right? I used to use Bullet. I've got some other rye now that I've been using. So, P100 sound fine. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, they sound okay. They sound like a P100, but they don't sound like a P90. They do not. I mean, they sound kind of like it, but they sound like a compromise. That's what they are. That's why. Not a. This is great pairing pickups with drinks. I should do it some more. I should do that.
That would be a great series.
It would be a great series.
I support that message.
Leslie says I should do a video series that is this pickup goes with this drink.
And music. You should throw music in
And music. It's a good idea. I'll do that. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much. Ooh. Four Roses single barrel. That stuff is really good. I did have a bottle of that. And I really want to get a bottle of Buffalo Trace. That's my next one. Yeah, people are saying pickup and whiskey pairings.
Tell them to come up with a name for that series.
Yeah.
They're really good at naming.
Yeah, since y'all are so good at naming, somebody says you're a pickup sommelier, which I kind of am.
I like that.
I kind of am, but not in the same way. Yeah, help me name it. Put it in the comments. I don't know why they're called P90s, to tell you the truth. Yeah, so put it in the comments below the video, not in the chat, because I'm about to let you guys go for the night. Make sure you go to patreon.com/DylanTalksTone. Make sure you are subscribed and hit the bell and all that kind of stuff. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I'm so glad to be back on this routine of Thursdays and etc. I think it's amazing. Wait, somebody said, great, I asked a question you couldn't answer. Oh, why are they called P90s? Yeah, I don't know. Truthfully, I do remember reading about it when I'm doing pickup history, like learning pickup history stuff, but it was like a fact that I didn't file. So I think I could probably go find it again, but I did not. I don't know at this moment. So, Jeff, what's wrong with good old American bourbon? I agree. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. So yeah, man. Thanks a lot. And thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that for the super chats. And thanks everybody else for the other super chats. This is literally what keeps us going and keeps the YouTube channel going. And the Patreon is what I use to buy the stuff to do the tests to give away. So just so you know, that's what I use that for. So I do appreciate it a lot. And I know you guys appreciate it too, because we give it to you and we're done. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, you guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out. And we will see you probably Monday with a new set of strings.